Every dealership has those few bikes they're desperate to move off the floor. We're talking about Japanese motorcycles that made big promises on performance, style, or value, yet failed to deliver. This is a countdown of 14 models that were supposed to fly off the shelf, but instead gathered dust. Number 7. Suzuki GSX-S1000F. Created to satisfy both the thrill junkie and the long-distance traveler, this bike represented Suzuki's daring approach to the sport touring world. Came equipped with a 1004cc inline, 4-cylinder engine, churning out 148 horsepower and 78 pound-feet of torque. That power plant was derived from the GSX-R1000, retuned for the street to offer stronger mid-range torque and a smoother delivery. Though the specs sounded great on paper, the reality of the ride was a different story. The bike's ergonomics were meant to be more relaxed than a full-on sport bike, but still ended up too aggressive for genuine touring comfort. Conversely, those expecting GSX-R sharpness found the handling a bit too soft, especially during heavy cornering. Its styling was polarizing as well, with a bulky front fairing and a silhouette that leaned more commuter than track. With a starting price of $13,149, the GSX-S1000F ended up stuck in a difficult position. It cost more than many upright nakeds, but didn't offer the premium features of top-tier sport tourers. Riders wanting a true all-rounder often walked away disappointed. With strong rivals like Yamaha's Tracer 9 and Kawasaki's Ninja 1000 SX, this Suzuki never quite found its identity. Despite having solid specs and a dependable engine, it simply failed to capture enough interest. Number 6. Honda NM4 Voltus. This was one of those bikes that made people look twice, but not always in admiration. Its design was radical, futuristic, almost like it rolled out of an anime series. It featured long, sweeping bodywork, a low-slung profile, and an extended front that resembled a stretched scooter. Power came from a 670cc parallel twin engine, producing 47 horsepower and 44 pound-feet of torque, paired with Honda's dual-clutch automatic transmission. The result was an ultra-smooth ride, but that smoothness came at the cost of engagement. Riders used to shifting manually found the experience too detached, and many felt the scooter-like behavior dulled the fun. With a super low seat height of just 25.6 inches, the bike was accessible, but that also exaggerated its already strange proportions. The riding stance, with feet forward and arms raised, made it hard to get comfortable over long rides. At 570 pounds, it wasn't light either, and without much onboard storage, it failed to function well as a touring option. Starting at $11,299, it was priced above many middleweight cruisers that offered more traditional looks, stronger resale, and better ride quality. Riders were left scratching their heads. Was it a cruiser, a scooter, a futuristic commuter? That confusion ultimately sealed its fate. Too quirky for mainstream buyers and too subdued for those chasing performance or customization, the NM4 Voltus might have appealed to a niche, but it failed to impress the cruiser crowd. For most riders, it was just a cool-looking oddity, not something they'd actually want to own. And if that seemed unusual, the next cruiser had even more trouble finding a home. Number 5. Kawasaki Vulcan S. This mid-weight cruiser aimed to disrupt the norm. It came with modern technology, a sporty foundation, and a price tailored for beginner and intermediate riders. But the execution didn't quite stick. Beneath the tank was a 649cc parallel twin engine, making 61 horsepower and 46 pound-feet of torque, borrowed from the Ninja 650, known for its solid reliability and efficiency. But on a cruiser frame, it felt like the wrong fit. Most cruiser enthusiasts want that low-end grunt, the distinct idle, and the visceral rumble of a proper V-twin. The Vulcan S lacked all of that. It delivered smooth revs, a hushed exhaust, and a ride that felt too polished for a segment built around raw attitude. Kawasaki's ErgoFit system allowed for adjustments to the seat, foot pegs, and handlebars to suit a range of rider sizes. And while the low seat height and balanced steering made it great for beginners, it didn't appeal to experienced riders looking for personality. Visually, it sat in an awkward spot. Its exposed frame, minimalist angles, and clean lines made it look more like a naked sport bike than a classic cruiser. Weighing in at 498 pounds, it was easy to handle around town, but lacked the heft long-haul riders expect. Priced at $7,399, it found itself squeezed. Riders with a slightly bigger, budget could pick up used Harley-Davidsons or other cruisers with more soul. The Vulcan S tried to blend sport bike traits into cruiser form, and in the end, it didn't fully satisfy fans of either style. Number 4. Suzuki Hayabusa. Once upon a time, this beast reigned as the fastest production motorcycle on the planet. It was a dream bike for many. Pure speed, cloaked in aerodynamic curve. Third-generation model boasted a 1,340c inline 4-cylinder engine, pumping out 187 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. Those figures are still incredible. It rockets from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds and effortlessly cruises at triple-digit speeds. And the Hayabusa is a large, heavy machine built for straight-line touring and drag strip thrills. That makes it epic in a straightaway, but clumsy in city traffic or on winding roads. With a price tag of $1,500, it's a serious investment. Factor in high insurance costs, especially for younger buyers, plus pricey tires and maintenance, and suddenly it becomes a machine for a very specific enthusiast. It's not nimble. It's not fuel efficient, and it's definitely not a good starter bike. Today, buyers are leaning toward adventure bikes and sport tourers that offer more practicality at a lower cost. The Hayabusa's legend still looms large, but in practice, it's become one of the most overlooked bikes in the showroom. Number 3. Yamaha R6. Few motorcycles earned the same level of track day respect as this one. Lightweight, sharp, and screaming at high RPMs, it was a dream for skilled riders. Its 599cc inline 4-cylinder engine delivered 123 horsepower and 42 pound-feet of torque, numbers that made it a powerhouse in the supersport class. The chassis was ultra-precise, the suspension fully adjustable, and the brakes were top-tier. Everything about the R6 was built for the racetrack. But that focus came with a drawback. Everyday comfort was never part of the plan. Its extreme riding, posture forced riders into a tight tuck, and the suspension punished anything other than smooth pavement. That intense setup, once its strength, turned into a problem as the market shifted. With tighter emissions regulations in the early 2020s, Yamaha ended R6 production after the 2021 model year. Its successor, the R7, went for a more rider-friendly setup with improved ergonomics. Despite its elite pedigree, the R6 became too niche for the evolving market. With a $12,299 launch price, it started to compete with larger, more versatile bikes. Now, dealerships holding leftover stock are struggling to move them. It remains a legend, but only for a narrow segment of riders. Number 2. Honda CTX700. This motorcycle was built around comfort, ease of use, and practicality, but somehow, it ended up largely ignored. It used a 670cc parallel twin engine that produced 48 horsepower and 44 pound-feet of torque. Modest numbers, but they weren't meant to blow anyone away. The goal was smooth, stress-free riding. That's why it came with forward controls, a low seat, and the option for Honda's automatic DCT gearbox. For new riders or commuters, it was approachable. But for experienced bikers, especially those who loved traditional cruisers, it felt off. The design leaned futuristic but lacked the attitude chrome and muscle cruiser fans expect. Riders craving the deep rumble of a V-twin were let down by the calm hum of the parallel twin. Though it offered decent wind protection and solid fuel efficiency, it lacked the sound, performance, and road presence that make cruisers memorable. Chassis Phi. $76.99, it competed against more iconic models that offered more visual flair and personality. For a few riders, the CTX700 checked every box, but for the majority, it just didn't check the right ones. Number 1. Honda DN-01. Some motorcycles challenge the norm. Others shatter it so hard, riders can't even tell what they're looking at. The DN-01 was that kind of bike. It was marketed as a futuristic fusion of a sport bike, cruiser, and scooter, but in trying to blend them all, it ended up pleasing none. Power came from a 600cc V-twin making 61 horsepower and 47 pound-feet of torque. It was matched with Honda's human-friendly transmission, a CVT-style automatic meant to simplify riding. But for experienced motorcyclists, the lack of gear control made the ride feel detached. And for beginners, the DN-01 size and price tag were intimidating, The styling was like nothing else at the time, with sweeping panels, an ultra-low seat, and a wide front end that raised eyebrows. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. If you found it informative, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos.